There's so many different markets for media today.
Mm-hmm.
And although the big facilities like you were talking about used to be the role of broadcast and networks, of course, but it seems to me the market has both expanded and contracted at the same time. What's happening?
It's definitely morphed. So part of the thing is there's a difference in how people are consuming content. Younger audiences do not consume content like folks with our hair color do. And people are producing content for those marketplaces. Some of the largest sales we have done for post-production environments have been in the streaming space, not the traditional episodic television feature film streaming space, but folks who are working on YouTube and TikTok. They have huge followings. They have huge amounts of capitalization that comes because of their following, and they have equipment that they need to buy because they are expanding their reach from their original platform, and they're getting into linear media like the rest of the market has always been since the advent of television.
What is Keycode Media?
Keycode Media is a systems integrator. We are nationwide. We have 12 offices now across the country. So we now have a very large presence here in New York. 17 folks, second largest location after Burbank. And we do post-production, broadcast, live, AV, getting more into IT, and a little bit of security as it relates to media and entertainment companies.
When should I come to Keycode? What kind of problem would you solve?
Our typical thing was we say that we can solve almost any problem. We're doing things from small onesie twosie edit bays to all the way up to full TV stations. We just finished a TV station integration in Denver. We've got another one happening in Tucson. We've got a PBS workflow happening in the middle of the country. We're doing stadiums.
What does the word integration mean?
Integration means we're generally getting a whole bunch of different manufacturers' equipment and figuring out, based upon consulting with the client up front, what is it you want to do here? What's your end result? Here are the things you need. Here's the workflow you need to get to your end result, hopefully with, keeping it under budget for you on putting it all together and making sure that it's easy to use and support down the line.
For instance, I would say, I want to build a control room, and you'd say, great, here's the pieces you're going to need, and here's the budget it's going to be?
Well, first I'd say, what is your budget? And then I'd say, what is the goal here? Is this control room for a stadium? Is it for a live broadcast? Is it for small webinar? There's a lot of nuances in a lot of projects, and building someone a control room that can do an entire, NBC nightly news broadcast when they need to do a small podcast, it's kind of overkill. And, even if they have the budget for it right now, down the line, they're not going to want to come back to you and do more work because you oversold them. And, we try to make sure that what we put together for clients is consultative and right on the mark for what they need, and possibly on the mark for what they might need slightly into the future.
There's so many different markets for media today.
Mm-hmm.
And although the big facilities like you were talking about used to be the role of broadcast and networks, of course, but it seems to me the market has both expanded and contracted at the same time. What's happening?
It's definitely morphed. So part of the thing is there's a difference in how people are consuming content. Younger audiences do not consume content like folks with our hair color do. And people are producing content for those marketplaces. Some of the largest sales we have done for post-production environments have been in the streaming space, not the traditional episodic television feature film streaming space, but folks who are working on YouTube and TikTok. They have huge followings. They have huge amounts of capitalization that comes because of their following, and they have equipment that they need to buy because they are expanding their reach from their original platform, and they're getting into linear media like the rest of the market has always been since the advent of television.
I'm sensing that the media industry itself is not only going in multiple directions at the same time, but there's a lot of pressure. There's pressure on budgets, there's pressure on deadlines. Where is growth?
The thing is, there are still people out there who have messages that they want to get through to people. The tools to get those messages to quote broadcast have democratized. I just need a phone, and then I can be online on TikTok or one of the other platforms that's out there. The question becomes a matter of how large of a scope is my audience and whether or not that brings anything in revenue-wise, and I need to do more than just shooting something on my phone. So once you get to a certain level, there's a certain expectation that folks have of the content they're consuming, certain quality level. It's not just, someone on their phone in the car. It is, a higher level of production, and people do need to get there. And that's one of the things where, despite the crunch on content production in the United States, that's happening. The other thing also that's happening is the content pipeline turned around during the strikes. There's a lot of content coming in from foreign markets. The localization pipeline is running backwards. Instead of U.S. content being produced and then spit out to Italy, Israel, France, all the different markets, their content is being, basically captioned in English and sent to us. So we're seeing subtitled material. And the fun part is, because of the way the streaming algorithms work, is once you start down that path, Netflix will assume, oh, this is the path you want to be on. I will offer you more of the same. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps moving on down the line. And that becomes a little bit of a difficulty for folks who are producing content in the United States. The other thing also seems to be is there's still a lot of trepidation to greenlight projects here in the U.S. It's more of a problem in California. There's real lull in the production and post-production market in California. Other parts of the country don't have as big of a lull, even though they haven't restored to the point they were at before the strikes. So, New Jersey has great tax credits. New York has great post-production credits. There's great credits going on down in Atlanta. And people are, the studios are following the money. There's a long time ago, we had a whole bunch of content that was produced out of New Orleans. All this strange Louisiana backwater content. It was all because there were tax breaks. No one necessarily said, I want to produce this, therefore the tax breaks happen. The tax breaks happened, and someone said, let's do shows based upon the local folks here and bring them to market.
Where does AI fit into this picture?
There's a couple things there. There's generative AI, and that's what scares a lot of people. And that is a piece that some people have been developing more. Like, that's part of the Adobe suite, and it's not creating brand new characters saying brand new things, but it's extending things. It's generating further environments. And then there's kind of the workhorse AI that, hey, I've got an entire library of stuff that I've done for the last 30 years of this show. How am I going to take that and turn that into content that can be chopped up and delivered via these new delivery methods, or turned into new linear content? How can I remonetize this?
So it sounds like you're almost calling that smart automation.
Well, it is automating those processes, but it's doing them in a way that's smart enough that it takes a lot less time to accomplish. So, I was just hearing on the floor about an AI platform where they fed so much content into it and they had results in a week. It was like that would have taken normally 6 months to, get to the point where you could even talk about what you could do with this. They were to air in a week. And that's the piece that we wouldn't be able to ever think about doing, and now we can, because the tools are a heck of a lot less expensive and faster than we can do with throwing more people at it.
Jeff, what do you want people to remember when they think about Key Code Media?
That we are able to have a good, strong solution based upon what their requirements are, that gets their job done, is easy to maintain, that we're able to pick up the phone when they call and support them, and that we're able to pick up the phone when they call for the next project because the first one went so well. We like to, as our tagline reads, keep people ahead of technology.